So honestly, and I don't know if you want to keep this in or not, we're just chatting. One of the things I've found is the most rewarding to spend time on when it comes to like my content creation. It's really not the content itself, it's the workflow of it all. So let me give you an example. You have 3 cameras. I'm not saying I have a better idea for this, because obviously I have multiple cameras, but for my stuff, right? I have a DSLR camera, right, that's in front of me, and I used to just shoot on it, right, record audio through my computer on Audacity, right, just record audio through that. And what I would do is, of course, the classic thing, like take the SD card out, put it in the computer, right, line up the audio and everything. So what I do now is I have the, and my roommate helped me with this quite a bit, but I have the actual camera running into the computer, right, direct feed into the computer, obviously the microphone direct feed into the computer, and it runs into a broadcaster, like OBS, open broadcasting software, whatever. So as soon as I click record, it's literally recording camera and audio together, right? Not only that, but I have a 2 computer setup. So check this out. It goes onto one computer, but the folder it goes into is in a network folder that's accessible on my editing computer. So once I'm done recording, I drag the file into my editor and I'm editing. They fully pasted together. I'm saying exactly no, but
not to whatever. Like I'm like you're explaining it, and I'm like semi-annoyed. I'm like, I need that.
No. But this is what I'm saying.
That.
Well, okay. So look, it takes a little bit of a time investment. But what I'm saying is, literally, let's say let's say whatever people who are just starting out in content out there, whatever, have a full-time job. Let's say it took an entire week where you couldn't post a video, but instead you spent that time working on this. From that week forward, you are then going to be able to pump out 2 or 3 videos in the same amount of time you used to do one. So I'm saying it's an investment of time. But
what's the system? What's the what's it called? It's a like an interface.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's literally like,
because I want to go live on YouTube.
So literally, okay. So check this out, right? Let's just say
insane.
Let's just say 2 cameras, right? Let's just say 2 cameras are being run right into your computer. There's a device I can talk to you about, whatever. But you run it right into your computer, okay? Then there's a free software called OBS. Everybody uses it to live stream on Twitch and everything, right?
Need that.
100%. It's free. Just download it. So then you have both your cameras going to there. Then all you're missing, right, is a microphone, whether you put it through an interface and then the computer or straight into the computer via USB, right? Let's say you have 2 USB microphones. Run them into the computer. You now have all of your signals going into one piece of software that you
that's fire, dude.
Boom. And then as soon as you're done recording,
oh my gosh.
Then you drag that right into the editor, you start cutting it up, boom, that's it. Obviously with
that's
this,
sick, bro. I would just leave my cameras up where they're at and just
that's what I do. So when I see you guys making the adjustments and stuff, I'm like, that's a necessary evil for the way you have it set up. But workflow is everything, man.
Nah, man, 100%. You know, I think I might have bothered you. Like, I think like 2 weeks ago, I was like, "Yo, so how do you?"
I remember.
And you're
that.
like, "I'll tell you when I see you."
No, I remember that. No, but see, now that we're here, listen.
It's funny because it's funny. By the way, for those tuning in, RPL TV got my boy Jonathan,
one of the OGs,
Reyes,
right?
Very much OG. If you do send me a clip, that would be hilarious to plug it in. But we used to podcast together at his crib, at Jonathan's crib.
At this point, how many years ago?
I don't know, man. It's like 3 now.
No, way more.
Before COVID.
Brother, we're talking 5 or 6 years.
Don't even remind me.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Yeah,
so we're talking, and we did so good. Guys, when podcast just came out, we jumped on it, and not to whatever it was doing. It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah,
but life got in the way, and not to be whatever. Yeah. The editing process was really hard for you,
and I ended up vocalizing that to you.
And it's funny because I ended up being a videographer full time.
So now you get it.
And so 100%, like 1,000%. Not to whatever. I was editing. I was still an editor at that time.
Yeah.
So I could edit.
Yeah.
Nah. I mean,
whatever.
Nah, it was just a lot. It was a lot. But it was fun, man. And so we're here now. See, this is season 2, episode 2.
I love it.
So we did. I'm not sure how many we did, but
I would want to say like 12 or 13. There was a lot.
Our episodes, we did 12, 13.
Well, there was a couple in there where literally I wasn't there. You came over to the house and recorded with other people.
That was crazy.
Insane. But we made it happen, and I promise you this, and I know you're seeing the effects of it now, but like that, whether the goal was to take off with it or not, it set the foundation for both of us to continue on and doing what we're doing now. Man. And now look, I mean, we keep going. It's a passion. We love it.
It's cool.
It taught us a lot.
Yeah, for those tuning in, if this is your first episode that you've seen of RPL TV, I forgot how many is in season 1, but again, this is season 2. And dude, we've been potting low key for a long time. And Jonathan Jonathan, you have your own establishment now. If you could tell a little bit to us about what you're doing, if y'all do see the Undertaker behind them,
posed correctly.
Jonathan's definitely into sports, specifically a lot of fighting. You were doing MMA content for a while, and then, which is crazy that wrestling is still one of the top things to watch. Now you're doing basically recaps and commentating a little bit on the WWE. What's the, is there another? I'm like so out of tune.
No. It's okay.
wrestling.
It's okay. It's actually it's my passion to tune,
Yeah, so go ahead and tell us a
people
little bit
who are
about
out of tune with it.
what you did or how you transitioned.
Absolutely. So it was actually February of 2023 where I started an MMA page, right? So on Instagram, and it's funny, the workflow things I was talking to you about just a second ago, I was working through that with the MMA page. So I was setting a foundation there too. But I started that page and it kind of just grew to like, I think around 4,000 followers organically. I never paid for an ad or anything like that. But I was making videos where I was teaching people kind of about the UFC because it was my passion to help people get into it. So a few months into doing that, the videos just kind of didn't have as much traction, but at the same time, I lost kind of a passion for making them. I don't know why. I think the MMA news cycle got a little bit slow, and it just became something I didn't really care so much about. Fast forward to January of this year, whether you're a pro wrestling fan or not, everyone's kind of heard at least of WWE, and one of their main events, right, that's been around for decades is called the Royal Rumble. Right, that's where there's a bunch of people in a wrestling ring, and whoever everyone throws.
Not too long ago, they brought it here to Orlando.
It was in Tampa, so you're right, exactly. So, but
that looked crazy.
Exactly, and so that was the event. I believe January 24th. I could be getting the number wrong, but that was the event where I was watching it at a friend's house. Sammy, Sammy Diaz, and it was such an excellent event that I remember telling my brother Tyler, I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna make wrestling Instagram videos. I kind of just set it out there, but he responded well. He texted me back. He's like, do it, and. I remember I loved that event so much. I was just watched it on TV with people that I went home and just made an Instagram video, just like I had done for the MMA stuff, but I just made a video, got a couple thousand views. So I was like, oh, this kind of feels good. And I've always loved wrestling, right? That's the thing. I got into MMA relatively recently, so I wasn't as confident in my knowledge. Pro wrestling I had liked since I was a kid, fell out of love with it like many people do when they find out it's scripted, and then kind of re-appreciated it later in life when I understood the business and the art of it all. So I made that video, made another video, and both of these got a couple thousand views.
It's like extreme drama for boys.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other dude. It's hard to put
like
it in.
I like the drama. I like the script.
It's hard to put it into words,
that
bro.
It's fake. Whatever they're doing is fine. They're millionaires.
We could talk about all of that, and I really want to, but like. I love it so much. I love discussing why it's interesting. Because from the outside looking in, people look at it and they're like, this makes no sense. This looks weird, this whatever. But that's why I love it so much, because I love explaining it to people and helping them understand. Once they do, it's a beautiful thing. But anyway, when the event happened in January of this year, I made a video, made another video, and then I had an idea to make a series called Just If You Missed It. So what I would do is I would just make a video recap of the weekly TV shows. And the first one I made blew up. I think like 200,000 or 300,000 views on Instagram. And I remember there was one comment from a stranger, just never met him before, but he followed the page after. He said, after one recap video, he goes, "You will be very successful with these videos." I looked at that and I'm like, I think he's right. So I made another and another and another in the comment section. I know, and he didn't. I don't think he's ever commented since. I've DM'd him since, and I just said, "You were right." No, I went back to the comment. I replied, "You were right." Once I hit like 50K.
That's so cool, man.
So yeah, at that point we blew up to like 10, 20K, and the rest is kind of history. That's been the bread and butter of it. Has just been making recaps of these events where I kind of, in witty ways, verbal, like you said, would commentate on the event. And yeah, it's just popped off ever since. We're about to hit 80,000 followers, probably tonight or tomorrow.
Wow!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
Thank you. Organic on Instagram.
Oh my gosh!
I'm trying to parlay that into TikTok because I know there's money to be made on TikTok outside of like sponsorship deals. You can make ad revenue on TikTok, so that and YouTube as well. And yeah, I'm just kind of taking it easy, but slow and steady. And, yeah,
that's fire. Well, we'll get into it more. For those tuning in, RPL TV, I usually say in the beginning, but remember the 1st and the 15th of every single month, I'm dropping a new song. Yeah, so 2 songs a month. Could do an EP. I could do an album, but I'm like, you know what? People are like, yo, come out with the singles. You know what I mean? I'm like, sure. So I just want to throw that in there, 1st and 15th, and we also have the podcast every Saturday, along with Relax and Take Notes that I'm trying to promote every Monday. I did skip this Monday due to Texas. But anyways, check out that music, Apple, Spotify. Type in Richie Ray, or look at, you're going to have to type in the song title because I actually have to change my name.
Really?
Richie Ray's already taken, bro. Wow. Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz. So people look me up and they're like, yep, RCHIERAY. So I might have to change it. I was thinking about changing it to RPL TV. So if you are in the comment section, tell me if RPL TV is much easier. I'd rather go by RPL TV.
I think it's got a better catch to it.
Yeah, and people are like, TV, why do you have that in your name? Well, I feel like when they ask that question, it's like, oh, now you're not going to forget it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's just, I don't know.
We'll see. But again, every 1st and the 15th coming up, and back to the show. Wow. But yeah, man, that's cool stuff. Yeah, I usually do an intro in the beginning. So But this is cool, just kind of diving into it. We have a lot of history. We go way back, so this is a blessing, man. Time is flying, but yeah. So when it comes to transitioning from, like what you said you got a little unmotivated, which is like huge. And I think everyone can relate in everyone's life. It's like that's such a huge thing to love something, and try to do something, but still be unmotivated.
Yeah,
do you?
Well, that's such a fascinating conversation that I could literally. What's interesting
I know how you got out through it.
Well, this is the thing, man. Like, I don't think I did. And so that's why I love this conversation, because I'm fascinated by it, right? Like, so I look at what I have now, and it's funny because motivation was kind of the bridge between like the beginning of it, which is there's no I can do this or I cannot. It's not going to make a big difference. Motivation, I think, was the bridge between that and, oh snap, now I have an audience that I have to do this for. Otherwise, I'm really kind of sabotaging some opportunity that a lot of people would die for, right? So.
And that's such good accountability.
Well, I haven't failed yet. I mean, it's literally like a boss of 80,000 people that are waiting on you. And they vocalize that in the comment section too. Sometimes I'm a little bit late on the recap videos. People like it 48 hours after the show.
Such a good problem.
It really is, man. It really is. I've actually had some people in the comments be like, or they'll swipe up on my story because I'll be smart.
Yeah,
on
if
my
I don't
story.
drop on Saturday, tell me.
No, exactly. No, but see, don't you feel that though? Once you're consistent a certain amount, it's not motivation's not there anymore. Sometimes it's like, oh, I got to do this. And then once the final product's done, it's like, wow, I did it.
Well, how about I love that. I mean, you're in a cool place where that can happen for you. And like, how do you? Is it just when I had Trap on for episode 1? He said sometimes you just got to do it. You just got to do it. There's no real way around it. I was like, tell the audience, what do you think could help them push you? So you just got to do it. I feel like a little bit of that is maybe what you went through. Like, you just got to do it. Like, where does the push come from when you're not motivated to? Because you went from MMA to wrestling, and you could have quit. A lot of people quit. That's why I'm hitting this on the head. People quit. And not really, actually, as a host or whatever, someone that wants to help you, that hurts and breaks my heart. Like, yo, don't stop what you love to do. How'd you be like, you know what, let's go. Like, let me do wrestling. Let me take a chance. Let me completely push MMA out and do this.
Yeah, it's a really, really good question because I don't know the answer to it. But I can just describe the journey. It was like MMA started just not... It's interesting, right? Because you can't always just follow motivation because you'll never really get anywhere. You can't always rely on motivation. At some point, you have to rely on what you... Who's this that said? Sometimes you just gotta
Trap.
There you go.
Just said.
Sometimes you just got to do it, and that's the truth. But the good thing is, like I mentioned, I have the accountability of the people that are already following. And there wasn't as much of that with the MMA page. I was at 3,000 or 4,000. So I felt the comfort and the freedom to walk away from it a little bit and say, you know what? At some level, you have to have a passion that people can see, and that's what people stick to. And honestly, that's what I realized with the wrestling thing is like when I speak about it, the first couple videos weren't recaps. I would just speak opinions on things. But as I watched myself talk, I'm like, wait a second, I'm getting like chills right now. I'm like, there's a passion in your voice you don't even realize you have, and it's based on just years and years and years and decades, really, of liking this product and wanting other people to like it too. So I think the excitement of that is what started it, and then once that kind of took over and I've had a following, at that point, it's that you just really got to do it. But another thing, too, that I get into lately is kind of the science of motivation, that your dopamine receptors and just getting flooded all the time with these quick rewards of just swiping on social media and, eating some calorie-dense food, whatever. We constantly flood ourselves with these quick satisfactions that all of a sudden, sitting down at the computer and grinding a 3-hour video to get to a similar satisfaction, your subconscious is like, why would I even do that? I could just go have a burger, right? And we don't think actively that way, but it's in our subconscious. I think that's what...
We'll go watch someone else's recap.
Well, exactly, bro. But that feeds into like that lack of a desire. I'll be honest, this past weekend, Money in the Bank, you ever heard of that one? That's like one of their events with the briefcase. It's a funny little thing they do. Yeah,
fire.
They do an event. So this past Saturday was that event. And I had the recap that I had to get out before Monday because Monday Night Raw, that's the Monday night show of wrestling, right? And they would recap it on the show and I'd miss out on my opportunity. So I had to get it out before Monday. Brother, I'm going to sit here with you on Wednesday today and tell you, I don't know what it was, man. I just did not want to make the video. I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't whatever. But that's the cold, hard truth, I think, of creativity is like creativity comes from a good place of wanting to do it, but you're not always going to want to do it the amount of time that you probably should to grow that and to eventually make it a career. So
yeah, no, I've been there. I would say like point blank. Sometimes like you have a long weekend or something, you're just like tired, and you're like, bro, I just want to like chill and like, and then you're also like thinking about like, yeah, it could get overwhelming.
Well, that's really what it is, man. If I'm being real, it's I just want to chill. It's really what it is, just wanting to relax and chill. But the big picture of everything is like, I work a job right now, and I'm making these videos on the side that take a lot of work to accomplish. I know powering through this season, just continuing to put in the effort and the work is going to result in a season that's going to come where it's not this hard. It's not this, back to back. Because Richie, with these videos, and I'm only putting out 2 a week, but they take a while to create and type out the script for it to make them as polished as I want and as I believe.
No, I think we were on Discord and you were editing, bro. And we're watching some game that day, and you're editing a whole time, and like we're bugging you too. We're like,
Dallas,
Jonathan, where
Mavericks,
are you? And the Mavericks, and you were just hammering through a video, and it took you. I mean, bro, we were on Discord for like
the
2
whole game,
hours, and
right?
you were already editing before and after. I think even after I texted you took like a quick bathroom break, and like pretty sure you weren't even done. Like I was like, man, and that's the hard work and dedication that goes behind this stuff. And the best advice I've been going through and hearing is like, if you don't quit, to win is like a must. Like you're going to hit the jackpot. Like if you don't stop, it will happen. And that's such a leap of faith. And yeah, I mean, dang, bro.
But you know who I've heard talk about that a lot? Dana White.
Yeah.
UFC CEO, president, whatever his title is now after the merger. But yeah, he's just talked a lot about that. And what's interesting is like there's one word that comes to mind, and it's obsession. Obsession. And sometimes I feel a little bit guilty because that feeling of wanting to chill kind of sometimes feels like it's about to supersede my desire to actually put in the work. And then I question, am I obsessed? Right? Am I as obsessed with this craft as I need to be to get to where I want to be one day? But I just know that feeling of guilt and whatever, it's just that's useless. So I toss it out and I say, you know what? No, I am obsessed, and my obsession is going to translate in the form of never giving up, like you said, and it's inevitable. Seriously.
Maybe that's not for everybody, but this is pretty deep. Like sometimes I have moments of like frustration and anger. And like I'm usually not that type of person to deal with that. And lately, as of like the last 3 years, like there's been like late nights you're thinking about your career and your vision, and like I have a burst of frustration that leads into like this anger. But the anger doesn't lead to like disruption. It leads more to like, bro, you're going to make this happen, bro. You're going to do this. And like sometimes I guilt trip myself when I feel angry, because I'm like, yo, like control yourself, bro. Like, yo, don't stop getting frustrated over the past or over the future as it happened. And sometimes I'm like, no, I need to feel this. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but obviously when Jesus is like flipping tables and they show a moment of Jesus being angry, he was just so passionate in that moment that like even Jesus himself had a moment of anger. And it's like, some people need to channel. If you're watching this, you need to channel your anger to the good and not to instead of being frustrated to where you quit or you get bitter. It needs to be I've been turning my frustration and anger to like, no, bro, tomorrow morning you're doing this, and don't kill yourself, but like mentally and emotionally, but like really challenge yourself and be like, nah, bro, stop being lazy, get up and do the work. And it's such a like cold. It's such a like, it's almost like boot camp. Like I never done boot camp, but it's almost like a hard workout that you just didn't want to do. Like it's not easy, but there's a reward.
Isn't it weird?
And I think the reward is like really, the reward could come in small bits, but eventually it'll be a dinner table.
I like that. Isn't it weird how there's like two of us in our head? There's like the one call. There's one in boot camp and the one the general calling the shots, right? Like. It's insane. It really is weird.
It's like the new and the old. Like you want to be something new, but it's like the old you is like, I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's like hard.
To keep
it's
you
like,
where I don't know. One thing that's interesting about all of that, and I love this conversation of motivation, seriously, and discipline and all that stuff.
Discipline,
but the conversation in my mind and with others seems to grow and evolve over time, because the older we get, the more wise we get. And so we experience it in different ways. But one thing I've found is when it comes to like the video creation and all of that is like, however disciplined I'm being in the other areas of my life directly correlates to that. Like it's almost like if you continue to grow the muscle of bowing to your impulse desires, then that muscle is going to overtake you when it comes to your creativity. You're going to want something, large or big picture, but what you want now is going to be stronger because you're used to feeding what you want now, right? So in all the other areas, when it comes to going to the gym, I know this is not an investment just in my biceps or in my calorie count for the day and in my weight, whatever. It's an investment in exercising the muscle of reducing impulse and say, okay, right now I want to just chill and eat fatty foods and just relax, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to go to the gym, and then the part of my brain that says, no, you're not going to do what you want, you're going to do what you need, get stronger. So then when I'm sitting in front of Adobe Premiere on a Wednesday or Thursday night, I have that muscle a little bit stronger.
Going from, boys to men, bro. Going from boys to men. What is a pattern that you've had? maybe you're super practical too. Like I know that, like, or a pattern that you see in maybe other people that like holds people back. Like what would it be that like holds this? Because this is where I'm coming from, and everybody watching, like, it's kind of like I want everyone to win. That's why I make the channel to ask these questions and figure it out. Like, and sometimes it hurts because I feel like everyone that's watching or everyone that lives on earth like has this opportunity and this purpose to be something great, but there's something that like holds them back. Like, what would be your pattern that you held you back, or what's a pattern that you see often in other people? I think I just thought of one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's.
But it's you're the guest. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, but that's such a good question, and the fact that question kind of spawns from a desire for everybody to win, I think is really, really cool, Richie, for real.
Appreciate that.
No, seriously.
I really do want to know.
But I can sense that too, for real. I can sense that not only in the moment now, but just in all the conversations we've had, right? You've been there's a lot of something that people that don't really know you don't know about you, but you've spoken a lot of life into me over the years. You've called out a lot of greatness in me over the years. So it's a really cool question because I think it comes from a really good place. To answer it, I mean, for my own, it's almost, I can't put a word on it, but it's almost this idea of I'll get around to it. That's I think was one of my biggest Achilles heels in the past. It's this idea that I'll get around to it. But the interesting thing about that is that if you go too far in the other direction, right, which is, oh my God, I'm this many years old, I don't have time, I don't have my this and that. That also paralyzes you just as much as I'll get around to it, right? So the truth is somewhere in the middle. And to be honest, that was when I found the most success. I started my MMA page, I'll never forget, because John Jones was coming back for a fight, heavyweight championship, and I was just genuinely excited about it. So I said, you know what, let me put this excitement into a form of creativity and see how it does. And that relatively popped off. Those first videos did.
I love go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, and then same with the wrestling thing, right? It was never anywhere close to either of the thought patterns that paralyze people or myself in the past. It was never, I'll get around to it someday, right? It wasn't that made the videos, right? And it wasn't, oh my God, I'm 27, 28 years old, I have to. Both of those will paralyze you. And they did for me, right? Becoming conscious of that is, I think, what helps you move forward, because you realize it's good news all around. The good news is you get away from both of those. You get to a place of, you know what, it's going to happen. I'm going to set my mind to it and I'm going to be excited about it, because that's the key. If you're not excited, that's another thing Dana White talks about so much, is like he doesn't even like to sleep, not because he has to grind all the time. He just loves it. He loves it. He like wishes he didn't have to sleep. And not everyone can be there. I don't think I'm not there, right? But I'm still pursuing this, and I may never get there. But as long as I know that closer to there is closer to success, at least in terms of behavior patterns, I'm going to be successful.
You know, you hit it on the head with you had a moment with the John Jones fight where you wanted to be creative, and I've been preaching that for a long time. I need to start doing more videos on it, but it was like, you can't forget to have fun. And like a lot of the things, and this happened from when I was pastoring and doing internship and being in the church more, was that it burned me out, man. Yeah. It burned me out to the point where there was this feeling of burnout for something that I love to do, which is discipling the kids and speaking to people, adults too, and like being all over the place in ministry, that I got burnt out. And it was a sour feeling that almost like I never want to go back to that feeling, because it came out of a place of like, paralyzing myself, that like, yo, you got to do more and do more and do more and do more, that the one thing that you once loved is now a burden.
It's a weird feeling.
I had a talk with Lewis, and I'll go on my little tangent real quick. I had a talk with Lewis about doing taxes, and I told him, like, I probably could have went crazier or more. I probably could have. I did really good, but I probably could have been better or whatever. But there was a time I was healing my shoulder. I was going to physical therapy, and I told myself, if I overdo this because I'm obsessed with money, or it's funny you talk about obsession, because it's like, where's your obsession going? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you balancing your obsession? It's like, if I obsess over the wrong things, like, oh, make money, like, burn myself out. I was like, next year, I'm going to want to do this less. And I think that's where faith comes in with God. And it's like a real big thing that I have, like, my belief in Jesus is like, I hope one day I could get around to it and tell people, like, this is exactly what it is, and I think it is. But rest is like a redeeming thing in like every factor of life, relationships, work. And it was like, there's times where you just have to put your trust in God and be like, all right, I did my work, I did everything I could. If I keep going, I feel like maybe I'm gonna fall off and get mad or make a wrong decision or ruin relationships because I'm so worked up and so emotionally driven that now what's one thing that I love, I don't love it no more. Like, that's such a bad place to be. And for those watching, you have to continue to take rest and then have recharge, like we were talking about earlier before the pod, and then have fun again doing it, because there will be a point where if you don't rest, every video and like every idea becomes a cringy burden that like just like completely makes you feel like, yo, bump this, I don't want to do this no more. And I think a lot of people fall victim to that. They become like they become paralyzed, like you said. Off of rest. And I don't know, I'm still trying to get around to that, you know, like I did so good in taxes that I'm taking off for a long time, and I feel guilty because I want to work and make bread, but like God is like, bro, just trust, bro, like trust, chill. And it's like, no, because in today's world, chilling in America, especially as a man, is like non-existent. Anyways, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does, but this is the thing, like, so people used to ask me, I say people used to ask me, it probably happened once or twice, but so I don't know. So I think one thing I've been really tapped into especially since the beginning of the wrestling page I started, is not forcing outcomes, right? Because none of this, I don't see anybody else who's been successful, right? And whatever that means, you know what it means. Pulling numbers, eventually making money off the thing you love. Let's just be objective about it, right?
That's the goal.
Right, 100%. No, exactly. So I just don't think that you ever get there by nervousness and by operating in nervousness. I just don't think when it comes to obsession. Think about what you were obsessed with as a kid. We went through, I mean, at least me, I went through millions of phases as a kid of obsession. I was obsessed with Pokemon at one point, Yu-Gi-Oh at one point, wrestling at one point, skateboarding at one point, basketball at one point. I mean, you name it, right? But one common factor that all of those obsessions had, right, is there was no nervousness about it. I genuinely loved and was excited about that thing. And if obsession is the trait that gets us where we want to go, then there can't be a nervousness about it. So when it comes to like you in this off season, right? Or anybody, that's the mentality I want to talk about.
It's funny because I'm off, but I'm not off.
No. Well, you're off of one thing and you're on another, right? On a higher gear too. And that's something you should be grateful for. And I know you are. But when it comes to that, like, you could just be, oh my gosh, I could talk about that forever, because I actually ended up leaving a job I had while I was making the MMA videos just to try and focus fully on it. And the nervousness that was involved in that season of life because of the lack of income destroyed the creativity. So it's a spectrum, but now is the far end of that spectrum. So I saw it firsthand. But when it comes to like this season for you, and it just applies to my videos and creativity in general, it's like, okay, you have a period of time where, you know, you have a little more flexibility, and that there's a potential to feel guilt because of that. But that's, I mean, that is not going to translate into creativity. So to fight that is to fight the battle that you're trying to fight, which is to get somewhere with your content and to keep going. And you are. Stuff's evolved over the course of a couple of years, and it's really cool to see. But I really think that that's the conversation creative people who are in the midst of trying to make something should be having, is like, are you nervously operating, or are you genuinely excited and happy about what you're doing? Because if you are, I mean, but it's literally like, you know how they say time flies when you're having fun? Okay, if you're nervous about something, you're obsessed or whatever, you're at work, you don't want to go home so bad, that clock is going to go slower than it ever possibly could, and you're not going to do your work as well. On the other hand, you know those days where you're having fun, it is what it is, and before you know it, it's time to go. So when you're having fun, when you're succeeding, I've seen this with my page because I started in February, it's already July, right? Or January, it's already July. 6 months of doing this. I can't even believe it as it comes out of my mouth. I've been having so much fun with it that time just flies. And before you know it, whatever your definition of success will come, because you're having fun. So you stop looking at the clock when you're actually enjoying it.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy. And a lot of people are probably asking, you know, like, oh, what's, like, sometimes it's not fun, like, work is work. It's like, yes, you're right. So, like, one thing that I realize is, like, especially when it comes to social media content, and it might come to your business, is you got to switch it up. You got to switch it up. It's like, what do you mean switch up? It's like, sometimes you need to stop being so serious and anal about your creativity and so obsessed about what it is that you've been doing that you go, okay, this video might be different, but I have to do it because, like, the creative joy that comes out of this is going to, like, erase all the frustration that I had for a couple months, and, like, go, oh, wow, it no longer becomes about your audience. It no longer becomes about, like, what they think. It's like, I don't even care what you think anymore. Like, I'm doing this for my pure joy. Bro, like, that's how I changed as an artist.
That's good stuff, bro.
My music as an artist changed because I was like, I am no longer doing, like, I do write songs and stuff for the people for sure, but there was a big change where I'm like, whatever I say is what I say, and whatever beat I pick is what I pick, and this whole like, you should do these type of beats or you should do that type of sound. It's like, look, I'll get around to that if I really need to, but like there's no joy in that. There's no real creativity in that, because I feel like I'm trying to be something I'm not, or do something that everyone else is doing, and sometimes you just gotta just do something different. Like, if here's a good example, I'm gonna revamp my videography, and like now I'm thinking about like, yo, I'm gonna do a couple free gigs. Yeah, they're gonna take time and cost money, but I'm gonna make some dope videos that are gonna be like super epic, and like be like, wow, this level of creativity is like on a different level. And it's like, then I'm gonna put it out, and then I just know I'm gonna get more clients. But it's like I had to take that break and be like, let's just switch it up. You're like, what does switch it up mean? It's like, bro, like the one thing that you've been wanting to do that nobody knows about is what you should do. Like on a spiritual level, there's things that like in your life that you've been thinking about and you want to do, and you haven't done it because you're like, oh, my audience, or like, oh, but I do this. Like, bro, I started doing fashion videos because I was like, I just went on a freaking shopping spree. Like, I want to show my people like, yo, I'm in fashion too. And that's kind of one little, if you guys are following me on Instagram, that's one little switch up I did that kind of made me happier again, like took away all the frustrations.
Well, I like the term switch it up, because like when it comes to my video content, like, and I don't know why I just think about Dana White so much, just because that's a story.
No,
of
I
someone
love Dana White's crazy.
What it is he took something that
which
no
we got
one,
to talk about Pereira in a little.
Oh man, yeah, that guy's not real. But he took something that at one point nobody believed in. Right? Fighting in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, whatever, nobody believed in it. But who believed in it? Him, genuinely, right? So it takes a certain amount. Like you said, you make it for the people, because otherwise it's what business do you have, right?
It's for the people, yeah.
But it's putting too much stock in the opinion of people that ruins the very gear you have to tap into to make the thing they would like anyway, right? Like, so when it comes to the videos I make, really I wouldn't say the only, but one of the biggest creative aspects of my videos, because most of it's just the screen recording of, the events, right? Literally showing people little bits and pieces of the events.
By the way, the videos are fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can give me the IG real quick.
Yeah. Well, Jon Reyes Wrestling.
Jon Reyes Wrestling.
Reyes.
It's probably in the bio, but I always mess that up.
No, but I appreciate it, man. And but so like the creative element for me is literally the words I'm saying, and they pop up as captions on the screen. Because I'm not just a results page. I'm not just telling people what happened during the event. I'm giving my snarky remark take on it. You know me. I'm a wise guy. So
witty.
Yeah, exactly. So but I love what you say. Like, switch it up, because it's funny. I'm actively thinking about this as you're speaking. The video I just told you from this past weekend that I didn't really want to make, I think, objectively speaking, was one of the lesser creative videos I've put out. It was a little bit more of a results video. Now, whether or not that was because the event had less creativity going on, or it just wasn't tapped into a creative gear mentally, whatever. The point is, I felt negatively about the creative process because I was less loose. I was more mindful of what are people going to think about this. That's just the gear I would
that happens, especially with social media content. It's super normal.
But on the other side of it, I think about certain Monday Night Raw and SmackDown videos where I am just loose, kicking it in a good mood and whatever. And I put that stuff out, and it feels so good to work on it. It feels rewarding once it's posted, and it gets the better response from the people. The truth is, I can't put too much stock in what the people think in general, though. It's a weird back and forth, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think the worst part about it is that no one's thinking anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst part about it. Like, bro, you know me, like, and I hope to be an example for you guys. Like, I try not to go on my tangents, but I just feel this is such a good conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I just had to like do vlogs and start filming clothes and outfits and stuff, because I was like, something was telling me like, Richie, like, you got to give the people all, like, if you want them to see the originality, give them everything, because like you're holding back by just trying to be one way, and that God's put different purposes in all these other ways. And I was like, yeah, but no one wants to see the fashion and the clothes, and that's not even true. Like, that's not even real. Like, if anything, there's millions of pages of people doing fashion. It's just like, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm posting rap and podcasting, and I feel like God's like, so what? Like, you got to enjoy your life. Like, rest in peace to my brother Joe. When he passed away, Moreno 730, like, that opened my eyes. Like, life is short. You could die, like, tomorrow. God forbid. But I'm saying, like, life is short, and I would want you to go down as someone who did what they love rather than someone who sat back in fear.
But talk about burnout, too. You burn out because you're literally putting so much active energy into portraying someone you're not. You look at, like, I go back to him, Dana White or anybody, any figure who's literally has said, screw what people think, I'm going to go for this thing 100%. The one thing they all have in common is they don't care what people think of who they are. They know who they are. And I've found that like with these videos and anything I've ever done creatively, whether it was even, preaching sermons at the church back then, right? Like I found that the way you avoid, quote unquote burnout or whatever is by just genuinely being you, because you can only put a mask on for so long. And the ironic thing too is like, we want to be well known because we have motives in our heart that like for you want to help people. I feel that's genuine. But why would you want to be well known for a version of yourself that takes so much work to portray? Wouldn't you want to be well known?
Smokes.
Wouldn't you want to
I feel like you're speaking to me, bro.
Wouldn't you want to be well known for who you are automatically?
Fire.
So you can kick the sheets off and be like, hey world, this is who I am. It no longer takes that energy. And what can that energy be spent on? Enjoying it. Enjoying the process, enjoying life.
And to keep going deeper in this topic, like I think when you don't put your business out and your content out, you're not being yourself. So when you are home in fear and paralyzing yourself, like who's going to like it? Am I good enough? Sometimes you have friends that are doing what you're doing and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to be like that. It's like, no, you're just not being like you.
You're being fake.
Like you not posting is you being fake.
Yeah, to a degree. If you think about it, that's true.
No, like if you have something in your heart and you don't put it out, yeah, you're living in a fake version of yourself.
100%.
Like I'm not trying, obviously we're just being funny about it, but like you're living a version of your life that's not genuine.
Yeah, it's incongruent. That's the word. I heard someone use that. It's incongruent with who you really are. And when you live that way, there's a tiny voice that's just going to eat inside you, and it compounds over time. It gets worse and worse and worse. Like, and then on the other side of that is like when you
fall into depression, man.
A little bit of one, seriously.
Fall into
But then
depression.
you don't even know what it is. It strains your relationships. It makes you feel pressured. You don't like your job anymore, all this stuff. And what it is that on the inside, you have something that you're suppressing because of fear. And man, it takes reps. I'm gonna be honest. It's not that some people are cut out for it and some people aren't. What I've noticed over the years is I have spent.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I've spent money and time just do. You know how many videos I have on my YouTube channel that are privated? It's just reps. I get in front of the camera, do my thing, because there's something deep in here that if I don't at least put the reps in to eventually, whether it's 2024, so I started a long time ago when I was homeschooled, right? Or 2034, right? Putting in the reps, because there's a voice inside of here that's just continuing to say, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do this. And with the reps comes a comfort to be who I am genuinely and to not put so much stock in what people's opinions would be of that. Because like you said, they got their own things going on anyway.
Yeah, they actually really don't care.
Right.
If anything, a lot of people are just scrolling through Instagram and social media and they see your stuff and they don't like it or don't engage. But let me tell you something. They see your stuff. Yeah. And let me tell you something. It motivates them. And it also makes them be like, yo, I need to do that too. And you're over here thinking, oh, no, I do post that I spend so much time on, get like 3 likes. Right. And it's like, who cares? Because I know you're watching it. Not only that, sometimes it's not even for you. You're putting in the reps. She's like, bro, I got to put in this rep. Because if I let the likes determine how I feel, bro, I'm going to stop doing my reps. I'm going to become lousy and confused. And I'm going to be like, God, why me? And I know, so.
And in 2024, you're 1 video away. In 2024,
yeah,
you and me, we're 1 video away.
That's true, man.
You're always 1 video away.
Yeah, that's true. And I wanted to touch on this for y'all watching, man, and tuning in. Because we're having such a great conversation that I wanted to share what happened to me real quick. Last year was things look like crap, bro. Garbage. No money on my account. Relationship falling apart. Not having much money to eat food. Losing weight, which actually was a good thing. But it was like very tormenting. I don't know when was the last time I was able to buy myself food out, go get some Chipotle. I would wake up at 8 o'clock at night. I would go to sleep at like 12:01, doing videos, working. I didn't watch Netflix. I didn't do nothing. I was actually hustling, but I was making no money. I felt delusional. One time I laid in bed and I was like I was crying because I just had my shoulder dismantled, and I was like, I'm being super open about this, but it's like I was like telling myself like, yo, I forget rap, forget podcast, forget God, why'd you even allow me to like this stuff? Like, take it away from me. Like, I can't believe that you would have me so passionate about rap and helping others that it put me in a place where I feel the worst version of myself. 30 years old, I thought I was gonna be the top of my world and feeling all these different things like, yo, I'm 30, I established who I am, and here I am with a busted shoulder sitting here asking you to take away my passions because they're leaving me here broken. And I say that to tell people, like, but all along as I was whining to God, I knew I was just whining. something was telling me the whole time, bro. It was like the story of Elijah when he's in the cave, and he heard a whisper from God, and that's exactly what was. Sometimes, guys, that's what's gonna carry you. The whisper from God, that little voice from God. I felt him telling me, Richie, you're doing the right thing. And I was like, no, I'm not. It was like I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, there's no way. He's like, but something was. You gotta be a little delusional. You gotta be a little delusional. Something was telling me, nah, bro. Like, hold on. It was God was like, it was almost like tag team wrestling, and God was like, bro, I got you. Like, you're tagged in. Like, I got you. Like, at any moment, just tag me.
Now I understand.
He was like, and I understand. He was like, I'm here. I'm on your team. And he's like, well, the audience, like, think you're in a wrestling match. The audience is booing against you. The audience is like, yo, why is he fighting like that? Why is he dressed like that? The other two tag team partners, they're ready to demolish you and kill you. And you're over here like, yo, God, you had me come in this ring. And you told, like, I know what I'm capable of doing. And I've been putting in the reps. And I've been working. And I feel like God was on my team. Like, almost like he was, like, holding his hand out. You know, when the dude's like, yo, all you got to do is just tag me in. And I'm going to ruin this guy. And I felt like God was like, it's just me and you, bro. Bro, I try not to get emotional. But it was like, God was like, it's just me and you, man. It's just me and you. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, they're not going to understand. And fast forward, you know, things changed. And like in January, while my shoulder was being prepared and I had surgery, tax season came around and I did good and it changed my life. And God was like, see, everything you did in 2023 was meant to come out in 2024. And it was just crazy, bro. And I say that to encourage anybody, like, you got to listen to that small voice from God. Like, the world is not going to know mom, dad. I always preach that. Not mom, dad, brother, sister. They're going to love you. They're going to give you the best advice they can. There's going to be moments where you got to be like, God, it's just me and you. And once you can reach that place in your life, forget it, bro. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It's hard.
You
it's
listen,
hard.
bro. When I saw that season of yours, man. I mean, it's weird because I know you, right? So I know nothing's gonna stop you, right? But I mean, coming out of that season, right? I know you look back on it. I don't know if I would say fondly, but you look back on it now with the context of where you are now and how it's changed you and how it's grown you. But when you know earlier in this episode, you talked about people quit. I mean, that's got to be a season of life that you look back on and say, oh, now I know I don't got an ounce of quit in me. Because if that didn't take you out, I mean, tell me what could.
Yeah, it's kind of how I felt. I was like, oh, it's up now. Like when I was in bed recovering and I couldn't move out of the couch, I was like, oh, it's up.
Yeah. Wow.
I was like, it's up. I was like, there's no way it's up, bro.
Look at that.
No, seriously, I can't believe that I said that to myself. I was like, oh, I'm here now? Oh, I was like, my God's bigger than this, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way. It's like, there's no way that I'm here right now. I've poured into people. I gave to people. There's no way. I'm on my George Janko right now. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, he's better. He's way better than this. And he is, man. And, no, this is crazy.
It's good. It's good stuff, man.
It's crazy to be here, but, yeah, man. Yo, let's, freaking, if you want to add to that, if not, the Pereira fight, bro. Talk about fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I listen. The UFC has taken a place in my life where I just sit back and watch in amazement. It's like serious, Alex Pereira, man. I don't know. I have no words. That's a fighter that
1 in a million. He's like Muhammad Ali.
He's one in a never, bro. That guy. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. So I mean, with the fights coming up, there's some smaller fights this weekend, and then Conor was supposed to fight. Yeah, he was supposed to fight the night Alex fought. Alex filled in for Conor. Not obviously against a different opponent because they have different weight classes, but that was supposed to be a Conor fight night. I mean, dude, I don't know. Whenever I took on, that was another reason I guess I stopped doing the fighting stuff. It was making me not enjoy it as much, right? Because I felt it was more of a job. I had to pay attention to all the numbers and all this stuff. But this fight night with him, Pereira winning and everything, it just, I feel like I say this every time I watch fights, but it reignites another passion in me for the fights. The reason I even like the UFC in the first place is because I like WWE first, right? It's storytelling, combat, whatever. And then,
yeah, I think the one thing about Pereira was like his intro.
What did you mean when he walks out?
Like when you walked out, I kind of was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, but that's every time he walks out. Like
exactly, but it's always over.
Yeah, well, yeah, except once at this point. Yeah,
I'm being funny, but yeah, it's always over, and it's something about his intro, and we'll tie this into everything we've been talking about. Like, you could tell he takes it very serious. You could tell like it's
Well, you know his
it's
story,
not
right?
it's not just personal. Yeah, I know. I've heard about like him having some.
Yeah, he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, I was like super okay. Someone was trying to debunk it, so I wasn't sure.
No,
about
no, it's real. He talks about it.
Yeah, and we could get into that because you know more. But it was like it's like it's personal.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like this is personal, and it was like not towards the fighter, towards like me. Like I'm. It's almost felt like Perez. Like I do this for me. Like I'm gonna beat you, but it's because of what I.
Well, he was asked a question.
Like I don't know. He gives that off.
Well, he was asked a question in a press conference. It might have been this last fight or the fight before, but he was asked. He's accomplished so much. Like, I guess like what is his motivation? What is his why does he do this? And he said it's because he remembers the life he used to live, and he's so grateful for the one he has now. He doesn't ever want to even look back. Right, and so that's what motivates him. So you're right. You sense that personal kind of not.
I mean, he kicked him to the ground,
bro. And you know what's crazy about that?
Like, that was a bad
His coach was on Ariel Helwani's show the next day or 2 days later, and he said when they were studying film backstage, he said, "Watch, I'm gonna kick this guy's head in the head and knock him out." I guess he just he studied whatever. He ends the first round with a left hook and knocks him out right there.
Because he posted the video of him training. He was like, "Oh, I already see him. He's defending the kick."
Exactly.
He's like, So I predicted that he could have knocked him out the first round, and the whole first he did. So the whole first round, like just knock. I swear, I had a video of. I was like, just knock him out. Yeah. Like I was sitting there, like just knock him out, just knock him out, and he didn't do it. And then the last second, he knocks him out. I go, there you go.
And then first second or the first 5 seconds of the next, and he knew too. He knew he was still hurt. So it's like he's not gonna have the reaction time when he stopped this head kick, and boom, dead. Yeah. Alex Pereira, man. And you know what's funny? Him and Izzy had their little rivalry. I want to see them go again. It's weird because Pereira is bigger at this point, 205 weight class. Izzy's 185.
I love Izzy.
I know, but I want to see it, bro.
But
I think Alex wins. But come on, this should be the trilogy, though.
I want to see Adesanya.
Whatever. No,
I don't want to see Adesanya.
Well,
lose.
It's interesting, man. It's interesting. This is what fighting's interesting, right?
I love you, Adesanya, but I wouldn't do it.
Adesanya had a quote a couple weeks ago. He said he's like basically F the titles. I'm coming for heads. Basically, just I'm gonna knock out everyone I fight from here on out. So it's interesting if we see a different version of Izzy in his next fight, which is against Dricus.
Yeah. Against who?
Dricus, the African. He's white African guy.
Gosh.
He's the champion.
Yeah. Oh wow. What about Nate Diaz?
I didn't see the boxing.
Yeah,
listen, bro. Boxing makes me sick, man. I don't like.
To be honest, they're not official. They're boxers. They're not officially real boxers. Let's be real.
I don't think boxing judges are real people. Is what I'm trying. I just don't. I don't trust it. I've seen some nonsense.
But that fight was like I was like, this is what boxing is supposed to be. Like they were just punching each other the whole time.
Well, I didn't really see the fight, so it's probably good.
They were punching each other the whole time. I was like, this is boxing. Thank God these guys went 10 rounds punching each other the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Boxing is a little bit on the political.
It's weird, man.
But it was a real fight, bro. Like Nate Diaz is like they were.
When it comes out on YouTube, I'll
watch
it.
Yeah, watch it. They actually fought. Yeah. These are MMA fighters. They're real fighters. Yeah. So put on boxing gloves, like they're just gonna do.
That's true. And they were both. Yeah. Well, Masvidal has always been a boxer.
I'm gonna say this take. I think it's better when MMA fighters box because they actually fight.
Yeah, that's an interesting take.
They actually fight. Now they might not be real boxers.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But who cares?
Well, I don't know. When you watch real boxers,
I put on boxing gloves with my friends and we go boxing.
I just hate the matchmaking in that sport. They boxing matchmaking. I mean, if it's so, you talk about real boxing, like the championship rankings, whatever. They don't match anybody. Any of the top fighters, they never fight the top fighters. They always fight just cans. That's why the odds are always minus 1,000 favorites for those stupid fights. So
MMA is like that too, no?
No, not at all. The MMA, the infrastructure, the competitive structure of the UFC is the best fight the best.
Yeah,
that's the big deciding factor.
I've seen some fights in MMA where they kind of
when someone's a star and they're trying to build them up like Bo Nickel, right? Bo Nickel, who's
you're like so off of the boxing.
No, I want to be off the boxing. I hate boxing.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. I agree. It's okay sometimes. I just thought that was cool. I love Nate Diaz. He's like one of the best fighters ever.
Well, I want to see the trilogy. Him and Conor. He needs to come back. So I think they're aiming. The Mexican Independence Day is at the Las Vegas Sphere this year. I think November, September, maybe. Cool. I don't know the date, but it might be early next year. When is Mexico?
I can't wait for that. That's going to be ill.
Bro, in the Sphere. So anyway, I think maybe they're eyeballing McGregor Diaz 3 that'd be probably the biggest event since McGregor Khabib.
Someone will be watching like this.
Oh man, I want to go.
That'd be cool. Jake Paul and Mike Perry.
Yeah, well, that was supposed to be Tyson, right? You ever thought that was going to actually happen?
The Tyson is just very, like, whatever. It's like, okay, like, I like it. But Jake Paul's really
And Mike Perry's the king of that.
Mike Perry.
Bare knuckle.
That's my guy. I met him.
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
No, that's my guy. He had a Goku shirt on and everything when I met him. Fire dude. He's a real fighter. I think he's going to have a real good chance with Jake Paul. The only thing is that he's not a boxer.
Well, he is, though. Bare knuckle.
Different.
I mean, it is different, but it is strictly striking, though. There's no grappling, so... My point is just that he's been working on striking predominantly hand
I
striking.
agree, because I do think there's a chance that he could win.
It's bare knuckle boxing, so it is only punches. I'm just saying he's been training.
He's so fire.
He's so good, man. I don't think he's lost once.
Yo, shout out Mike Perry, bro. And he's
Perry,
from
man.
Orlando.
Mike Perry.
Popka.
I love you. You're amazing.
Shoot, man, we've been here for a while.
What are we on?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. I gotta edit a 50-minute pod.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
We didn't even talk about Texas. Went to Texas.
Wow.
Shout out Louis.
Yeah,
Shout out Larissa.
yeah.
I love y'all. That was fun. We went go-karting. We went to horseback riding. Pause.
Yeah.
We went to a crazy hotel, like one of the best Hiltons I've ever been to in my
Wow,
life. If you ever
really?
go to Dallas, Texas, for whatever reason, it's called the Anatole. I don't know what it was, bro. It was huge. It was it was amazing. So that was dope. We stayed there for like a day and a half. The rib briskets.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised he didn't take you to
Brisket
Terry Black's.
tacos.
Terry Black?
No. We had pupusas. We had the maíz de loco in a cup.
Wow.
Bro, honestly, Louis, bro, shout out, because I've been to New York, LA. I've been to a lot of places. We've been on
Yeah. He showed you the ropes in Dallas? Yeah?
I already been there, and like this second time coming back, or third time, I think, with my brother Anthony. Shout out. Like, that was like one of the most fun trips
Dallas
ever.
is good,
like,
man.
I don't know. We just did so many cool things.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's being with your people.
Ian was there. Shout out Ian.
It's being with you.
Ian was so cool, bro.
Yeah, man.
Hang out with Ian.
Ian, I know
That dude
him
was
since forever.
It was dope, man. I had a good time, and hopefully we could do that.
I don't know
again.
if you know, my father passed, for context, he passed away when I was young, but he was from Fort Worth. He was born and raised Dallas area.
Yeah, exactly. Fort Worth / Dallas. Shout out to the Mavericks. Y'all did good, but not good enough.
Not good enough.
Kyrie, I blame you. I love you, but I blame you. Anyways, last thoughts. Anything you want to add?
Well, no, man. I just want to say, whenever you and I get together, which, like you said, we have history in our pod recording and everything like that. I think there's there's a lot of good conversations to be had, good revelation, for lack of a better term. And so I want to hop back on again. And once I start up what I'm going to start up eventually with wrestling podcasts, whatever the case, definitely want to have you on, because there's certainly a chemistry and a dynamic here that I think is really cool. We've seen each other grow so much, but the beauty is we're going to continue to see each other.
I think I bugged him for like the last 5 years. Like, yo, let's do it again.
No. Okay.
Run it back.
Listen, that's a whole different.
Run it back.
Yeah, listen, you don't know, right? Once this is my full-time gig, right? Creative things. Once it's your full-time gig, right? Then some cool things are in the works, man.
Love you, man. Thanks for coming through.
Man.
I appreciate that. On the last minute too, a little bit. Again, 1st and the 15th, dropping a single. That's 2 singles a month. We got one coming up. I started in June, so we already got 3 out. We got the 4th one coming. Podcast every Saturday. I'm trying to do my devotionals on Monday, Moreno Monday. Again, rest in peace to my boy Joe. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Comment, please. Let me know what you think. Any topics, good, bad. It don't matter, man. Trying to get it flowing in the algorithm. Again, Jonathan, actually, real quick, I always do this. One thing you would say to anybody watching to keep going and keep striving. I wanted it there.
The happiest, the most fulfilled you will ever be is pursuing what it is that you are afraid at one point in time to pursue. That fear eventually is going to go away, and it's going to turn into excitement and positivity, and actually believing you can get where it is that you want to go. So, man, just keep putting the reps in, put the time in, put the energy in, and surround yourself with people who genuinely believe in you and who can call out the greatness that's inside of you. I think that's one of the blessings that you and I have both had, having grown up in the context of church especially, but even to this day, just having people like you in my life who call out the greatness that's inside of you. Make that a priority in your life and continue to put the reps in, and I promise you, failure is impossible. That's it.
Let's go, man. RPL TV.
RPL TV.
By the way, it's not just Jonathan. It's J.
J. Ray Richie Ray.
Let's go, baby.